What stands out to you as unique about Taiwan's workplace culture?
When I compare that to where I'm from or working in Europe or North America, we're a little bit more direct. Whereas the culture here in Taiwan, yes, people work very hard, they execute extremely well, but that balance of relationships and team harmony is built in there. At first, for foreigners like myself, that can feel like we're not making progress or why aren't we being more direct? But again, reading the air. Over time, I've seen it not as a limitation, but as a strength. And that sense of needing to build trust first before you can have a more direct conversation is critical. And that's not something we always see in the West. Everyone has a strong sense of responsibility and we learn and adapt quickly. So that's something that's been really incredible in Taiwan.
各位听众各位观众大家好，欢迎收听收看今天的哈佛人物面对面单元。那我们今天呢是礼拜六，也又是一个特别节目哦。各位听众有没有发现我们最近特别节目周六特别多哦？因为我们的制作团队非常的用心，总是觉得有好的内容哦，就是再多做一集给我们的听众跟观众来分享。那今年呢对我们集团来讲啊，我所参与的2个杂志都是非常重要的年哦。一个是我们远见杂志今年创办40周年，一个是我们哈佛商业评论的繁体中文版由我们集团来出版，今年也迈向20年，所以我们今年不管是远见或者是哈佛商业评论都有相当多的庆祝的相关的活动，甚至在议题的选择上呢也都会选非常影响重大意义深远的主题哦。在我们远见40周年我们一系列的报道里头呢，我们就是要重视一些对台湾未来发展很关键的一个议题，所以我们在6月份特别做了一个不老台湾的专题。那大家都知道现在台湾已经迈向超高龄的社会，所以大家的寿命是越来越长，但是如何健康到老，健康到最后一刻才倒下，这真的是我们所追求的一个境界啊！所以我们特别推出一个不老台湾的专题。今天呢哈佛商业评论也 echo 我们远见非常重视这个不老台湾的主题，所以我们今天周六的特别节目呢也特别来谈一下如何打造健康自我的管理策略。那么在哈佛商业评论呢我常常介绍的大师当中有一位是克里斯汀森，在2018年他还有发表一篇文章呢，是特别跟其他的人一起协作的一篇文章，谈到医疗业呢也需要破坏式创新啊。那他特别提到的是说，在这个整个社会的医疗体系治疗呢事实上常常是最花钱的。比如说你已经生了重病了，你要治疗的话，你可能要有最先进的药物，你要有最先进的医疗器材，而这些都是很昂贵的研发以及很昂贵的这个器材，所以到最后呢对病人来讲也是很昂贵的负担。所以我们整个医疗体系呢要从这个治疗疾病的治疗走到预防。比如说你在这个社区里啊，就经常举办很多的什么健康讲座啊，或者是健康促进的活动，就让我们的这个大众呢可以不会从小病变大病，甚至呢就保持没有疾病很健康的状态，这样就不会浪费任何的医疗资源。所以这个是整个医疗体系的创新这个破坏式创新的做法，也是这个克里斯汀森他所强调的。所以今天呢我们就附在说明栏这篇文章，邀请各位听众跟观众自己下载来阅读。那今天的特别节目呢也是邀请到我们远见在40周年6月号这个主题呢受访的一位贵宾，他已经来台湾2年了，所以他有一些 fresh eye， 他是一个外国人居住在台湾，又是一个国际知名的大药厂 GSK 台湾的总经理，所以他对台湾或者是说因为这个国际级大药厂用国际的视野来看台湾现在整个迈向高龄社会，在医疗照护健康预防这一方面呢，他有一些什么建议所以他是我们6月号远见杂志的受访者，所以我们今天特别邀请他来到我们的节目现场。那为了要进行顺畅，所以接下来的访谈呢会全程用英文所以我们 Podcast 的听众 如果你可以用英文，那就欢迎你用英文留在 Podcast。如果你想要看中文的字幕的话，你就转换频道到我们的 YouTube 啊，也可以收听收看这一集的节目。那我们接下来呢，就要邀请我们的这个今天的受访者是 GSK 台湾总经理 Tina Graves 来跟我们听众观众 say hello 我们进行我们今天的采访。So Tina, I just introduced today's topic to the audience. So I would like to invite you to say hello to all the audience today.
Sure. Thanks, Mary. Hello, everyone. Very nice to be here today. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. So it's very great honor to have you today with us. And I would like to start the interview by inviting you to introduce yourself first to warm up today's interview. What's your background, where you come from, and what brings you in Taiwan?
Oh, sure. So I'm Tina Graves. I'm Canadian, but I've lived all over the world. And I work for a company called GSK. We're a global biopharmaceutical, innovative biopharmaceutical company. We focus on infectious diseases, oncology, respiratory and immunology disease areas. We're also a leading vaccine manufacturer, and we play a critical role in advancing preventative healthcare here in Taiwan and around the world. When we talk about vaccines, something very proud that we have at GSK is most children here in Taiwan receive GSK vaccines as they grow up, at least one. And through government-funded programs, millions of people in Taiwan benefit from GSK's vaccine every year. That makes them really a cornerstone of public health here in Taiwan. GSK, if you look at our heritage, we launched the world's first asthma inhaler, and also HIV antiviral medicines, so really changing the course of history in a lot of ways, bringing significant breakthroughs to patient care. The company has been here in Taiwan for almost 50 years.
Okay.
And we have more than 300 employees working throughout this beautiful island. Our mission at GSK is to positively impact the lives of more than 2.5 billion people by 2030. And we're well on our way to do that, driving progress not only in vaccines, but also in innovative medicines and solutions that advance prevention and improve global health outcomes. I talked a bit about where I'm from. I've been in the industry for 22 years.
Wow.
I started my career as a sales representative in 2004. And over time, I've worked in specialty care, anti-infectives and antimicrobial resistant infections. And then I transitioned about halfway through my career into vaccines and prevention. And that was when it was a turning point for me to be always talking about treating disease into preventing disease before it happens.
Before vaccine, yeah.
Exactly. When I moved into vaccines, again, as I mentioned, that was a key turning point for me. And I joined GSK in 2015 to launch some of our innovative vaccines. I mentioned I'm from Canada. I've worked in Belgium, so I left Canada almost 7 years ago. I've lived in Belgium, working at our global vaccines headquarters, Singapore, where I was responsible for all of our vaccines business through Asia Pacific. And then I came here to Taiwan 2 years and 1 day ago.
One day.
Yesterday was my 2-year anniversary in Taiwan.
So do you have a party to celebrate your 2 years
No, but
anniversary?
you know, I should tell my team we should.
We should celebrate later today. After the interview, celebrate.
What a great idea.
Welcome 2 years in Taiwan.
Thank you.
So you have moving all around the world, right?
Yeah.
So especially you are from country to country.
Yes.
From Canada to Belgium. From Belgium, I heard that you also based in Singapore for a while, right?
Yeah.
And now in Taiwan.
Yeah.
So what I'm curious, how do you reflect about a life that is constantly on the move?
Yes. Excellent question. So I move with my family as well. I always say 3 kids, 2 dogs, 1 husband. Look, the act of moving, the process of moving is painful. I don't think anyone takes joy in the process of moving. But the adventure of having moved creates so much opportunity for learning. And so for me, it's not the process of moving. That is uncomfortable, but it is a few months. The joy of moving and getting to experience different cultures, that's where the learning opportunity comes from. So for me, even when I was in Canada, I moved from English-speaking Canada to French-speaking Canada, back to English-speaking Canada, then around the world. And that constant moving has been a continuous learning journey for me.
So you 2 years in Taiwan, right?
Yes.
So how you feel about what's the most excited part of living in Taiwan?
I would say, when I look at the challenges of moving and challenges of coming to new countries, and I'll talk about Taiwan in a minute, what I've learned from moving from country to country, every country is exciting and special. And then there's the common things that make us all human. We all have to go to work, go to school, buy groceries. The real challenges in adapting to new markets are not about the market. It's about understanding how people think and communicate and building trust. And so I've had some incredible experiences with the people of Taiwan. I would say my team here is probably the most favorite team I got to work with in my 20 years.
Wow.
Probably because of the very rich culture, but open-mindedness of the Taiwanese people.
So in these 2 years, was there a particular moment when you felt that I'm starting to truly understand Taiwan or genuinely connect with this market? Or how has that understanding influenced your leadership and decision making?
So I wouldn't say it was a single moment. I think every day is made up of really important moments. Something very maybe important that I did, particularly being a foreigner, is trained myself to listen to my team. Something I learned very early in my career. I worked in Japan before I worked in the pharmaceutical industry. I was an English teacher.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So that's before
right
2004.
Right after university graduation.
So that's the first move, huh?
Yeah.
From your home, Canada, to living in
East
Tokyo?
Osaka, Higashi Osaka.
Okay. For how many years?
3 years.
3 years?
3 years.
Wow.
Yes.
But as an English teacher?
As an English teacher. And I spoke zero Japanese when I arrived. Yes.
So why is that exploring life purpose or exploring life?
I just was open to the adventure.
Okay.
And I talked about learning. I've moved with my family, but I moved there. I was young, of course. I moved on my own.
Not married yet.
Yes. And it was about learning, the adventure, learning about new cultures. But it's also where I learned. So I was the only foreigner in a school. It was not an English school. It was a local public high school. And I learned often that, and I apply it today here in Taiwan, often what is the most important thing being said in a meeting is what's not being said. Like reading the air. My experience in Japan was the first time I understood how to read the air. And that's actually the joy of working in a country where you are not the native speaker of the local language is you must listen with your eyes. You can listen to what people are saying, but if you don't speak the language, they're speaking in maybe their second or third language. And so you have to understand, what are they doing with their body? Is there pause or silence, expressions that are different than what's being communicated verbally? And when we look at how does that translate to health communication, because we're in the business of healthcare, helping patients live better and longer, when you translate that to healthcare communication, it's equally as important for us to think about what is not being said between a doctor and the patient. And how do we help the healthcare professional to educate their patients so they get the best care? So it's not only how do I work with my employees, but how do we translate our learnings into how do we help patients here more in Taiwan?
So what make you to decide to switch to the biopharmaceutical industry from a teacher to this industry?
I was always passionate about healthcare. I studied science in school, and going to Japan to teach was an incredible adventure, but I knew I did not want to teach for the rest of my life.
Why?
But I loved being a teacher. I loved my students. The contract was 3 years and they sent you home, so I had no choice but to leave. But I think as a leader, you apply the same principles of teaching as you would teaching students. Of course, at a different level, it's a professional and corporate level, but listening, understanding, teaching, helping to guide people to where they want to go, helping point them in the right direction, but not doing the work for them. All these principles of teaching apply in the corporate world when you're leading teams to deliver the great things that they deliver.
I think in Asian culture, you just mentioned that when you were so young, when you were only 20-something,
Yes.
you already understand the importance of listening to the air. to listening to what not said.
Yes.
Instead of what I said,
yes.
right? So
yes.
in Taiwan, is that also similar to the culture in Japan that you listening tool, this listening ability is also important in Taiwan too?
Yes.
And so can you share more about how you approach this in Taiwan? And were there any specific examples that shape your understanding of your team or the market? And how did those insights influence your leadership approach?
Sure, happy to. So when I started 2 years and 1 day ago, when I originally came to Taiwan, I didn't want to make changes right away, and I did not want to rely on my assumptions. So I did something called a listening tour. I did it when I started, but it is something that I do every 5 to 6 months now routinely with my team. I travel through all of Taiwan and I meet in small groups with my team. So I did this when I started. I moved through all of Taiwan, met with my team in small groups of 10 or less.
Okay.
And we talked about what's working well and what can we improve. And the specific questions I was asking were, what can we do better to make GSK an even better place to work? And how can we deliver better for patients? Because that's why we're here. And the feedback, some of it was very simple to solve for, right? Which is nice when you're a new leader, you want quick wins. But some of it was really fundamental to, okay, we need to shift our culture here. And so something we worked on together was, how do we help people feel more safe to try new things? Because we're an innovative biopharma company, we must innovate to deliver better patient care through our medicines and vaccines. And so one of the interesting things that came out of it, and Mary, you asked me about too, was creating a safe space for people to say what they really thought. And in these listening sessions, it started off very nice, right? People were very polite, but then after we built trust, that's when they started to really share what they thought.
Yeah. So you call the meetings, the meeting is listening
tour.
Okay,
yes.
So it's a listening tour with each time with 10 persons.
Yes.
Still ongoing.
So every 5 to 6 months, I set aside 1 week and I meet up and down. So I take the HSR everywhere in Taiwan.
Okay.
And I meet with employees in small groups.
Okay.
We meet for 1 hour so they can get back to their job. We meet for 1 hour and we talk about what is working well and what isn't. And then I go to the next group. It is just me and the employees and my assistant who translates for me.
Oh,
no
so
bosses.
No matter. No. Okay.
No.
Wow.
So it is just me and them. We build trust or rapport, as we would call it too. But also, it's not just about listening. It must be about action. So we take down the suggestions from employees or challenges they're facing. I bring them back to the office. It's usually a very long list. And I talk to my leadership team the next day. So let's say we are Monday to Friday listening. On the next Monday, I am in a meeting with my leadership team and we are going through the list of feedback from employees. And we delegate to each member of the leadership team who is most appropriate to either get back to that colleague or to make changes and lead whatever that change will be.
So until now, you have through 4 cycles, right? Already run 2 years, right? So 4 cycles.
4, yeah. It feels like I've done 5. Maybe I did them a little more frequently.
So is that questions raised become less and less?
Yes.
Since many are solved at the first round.
Correct.
Or second round.
The first one was very long.
Maybe 200. Yes. So the last time just finished, right?
It did, yes. Yep. In April.
In April. So this time, how many questions left?
Not so many, but sometimes they're new.
Okay.
Because we keep doing new things, people have new challenges or new questions. We're launching new medicines. And so we're learning about how to help. We've launched into oncology in the last few years. I can give you an example of something that came from a listening tour that actually led to quite positive change for people.
Please.
But because our business keeps changing, the questions change.
Yeah.
But they're very different in nature now than they were 2 years ago.
Yeah. So is this your personal management style, or is this listening to a GSK's policy that to run this for higher manager?
So there's no policy that tells me I should do a listening tour. I think our culture is one where the level between the most senior leadership and the colleagues in the field, or the sales reps, our endeavor is to make that hierarchy as flat as possible. We are all colleagues at GSK. But it's also my management style.
Okay.
I don't tend to work in an hierarchy.
So can you just provide one examples that from the listening tour, what kind of idea you have grasped and then later on become very good innovation?
Yes, I'm happy to. So one of the things that came from our listening tour, as I mentioned, we've launched some new medicines in oncology. And as we were recruiting for people to work on these products, we were recruiting externally because we didn't have that experience inside. The feedback from the sales reps was, why are you only recruiting outside? Can you help us have a way in to also be part of that team? Can you teach us? And again, what was wonderful was the team always hears from me, I want you to grow. I want you to learn. I want you to challenge yourself to do new things. And so they were saying back to me, hey, you told us you want us to learn and grow, but now you're hiring people outside. What are you doing? And so they didn't say it that way, but that's what they meant, right?
What they say, not said.
Exactly.
Reading the air.
And so we took that feedback back to the office. I don't have all the answers to every question in these listening tours. That's why I say, you know what? You're absolutely right. Let me take it back and talk to the leadership team about how we can make a change here. So we went back to my leadership team. In fact, we worked with some other members of the oncology team, and we asked them, how do we do this? One of the members said, she came with a proposal to say, let's do something called an Oncology Boot Camp. And what that meant was colleagues were allowed to do trainings. It was a fairly intensive training on the science as well as how to sell in oncology, because it's different. It's very highly scientific. And through this program, and people could sign up from across the organization if they were interested. They had to go through the program and they had to complete an exam at the end. Those that passed the exam were then permitted to apply for a role if they wanted to. It wasn't, if you passed the exam, it didn't mean you got the job, right? Because it was still a competition for the best people. Colleagues who've passed the exam, some of them said, that was nice, I don't want to do this. Which is great. It's so important to learn what you like and what you don't like. So some people said, that's not for me. Other people moved into the oncology team because it was what they wanted, and they were successful in the competition for the roles. And now what we have is this phenomenal high-performing team made up of many external people and many internal people who know the culture of the organization. And they're performing better than they would have if we had only hired from outside. And the only reason this happened is because people felt safe to say, we need to do this differently. Help us find a better way. Wow, this is really very good management tools that we can introduce to many other high-level managers to learn from you, to have this listening tool. It takes time, but it's really important. Yeah, I think it's quite useful for you. It has been, yes, it has been. Yeah. So I will switch to another question, is that you have been in many different countries, right? And for like multinational companies, they often face the challenge that what that works in one market may not be also succeed in another. Yeah. So in Taiwan, how do you balance the global strategy with local needs? Yes, an excellent question. And I'm sure many multinationals struggle with this. I've worked in our global organization as well, so I understand what it takes for global to set a strategy. And I think the thing for most multinationals is to have the global organization set a very clear strategy, but allow flexibility in a local market to be able to adapt based on the local reality. At GSK, our global strategy is very clear. It's centered around delivering growth to help more patients, accelerating R&D to help more patients, and simplification so that we can get things out of the way so we can help more patients. So when we talk about delivering growth, that means focusing our resources on areas with significant unmet medical needs and bringing innovation to more patients. Accelerating R&D is about shortening the journey from research to patients. And again, that means bringing innovative medicines and vaccines to patients sooner. Simplify, as I said before, it's about making our internal processes more efficient, which enables our teams to focus on what matters most, ultimately creating more value for patients. That said, how the priorities are executed locally, so those are global priorities at GSK. How they're executed locally means we need to understand the market where we work. In Taiwan, my approach has been to first take the time, like we talked about, to truly understand the local team, but also the healthcare system, the policy environment, and how people perceive health and prevention, rather than rushing to apply my own past experiences. Once you have that deeper understanding, you can then take this big global strategy and bring it to life in Taiwan in a very meaningful way. That way, we let the global strategy give us direction, but we have the flexibility at GSK to apply that to what matters here in Taiwan.
So can you provide some examples like a global strategy to accelerate the R&D? But do you do R&D in Taiwan? Normally, a global company, they have in Taiwan is more focused on sales, on growth,
yes.
or the revenue.
I think that's what you would typically see. What we do not have a research and development center here, but we do invest in clinical research. So we have many patients in Taiwan across many therapeutic areas that are involved in our clinical trials. And Taiwan does phenomenal clinical trial work.
Wow.
Absolutely phenomenal. And I'm very grateful to all of the researchers here that partner with us so that we can develop new medicines and help more people here in Taiwan.
So is that because Taiwan have many talents in this field?
Taiwan has phenomenal talent here. The talent both in healthcare, the wide variety of databases that we have through national health insurance as well as others that help researchers understand what is truly happening with patients in the short term, but also in the long term. And the quality of research coming out of Taiwan is really world-class.
So can you provide one examples to localize the global policy, that your global policy have 3 dimensions, growth and R&D and simplified. And so how can you provide one examples that in Taiwan, how you localize?
Sure.
Just one case.
So I'll give you an example maybe of how it works without sharing confidential GSK data.
Okay.
The global team, so let's pick any kind of medicine that we have, that we have a sales team for. The global team will provide that global strategy based on the science that we have. And then what happens is they will cascade it through to markets like here in Taiwan. And we will evaluate based on local market research and local insights and with a lot of collaboration with local experts to understand what is the best way to bring through medicines, whether it's a new medicine or one that's been here in Taiwan, so we can help more patients. We also work with the NHIA together with organizations like the European Chamber of Commerce, which I'm the chairperson of, to bring forward recommendations and policy change, not just for our own medicines, but medicines where elsewhere in the industry, we believe we can make a difference in patient care here.
So I have to add one, your former title in Taiwan.
Yes.
Former chairperson of European Commerce, right?
Yes. So
Okay.
I'm the chairperson of the European Chamber of Commerce in Taiwan.
Wow. That's for 1 year.
It's 1 year, yes. So since January this year.
That's great. You're quite new in Taiwan and to take very important position.
Oh, I've been very busy.
That's really busy.
Yes, I'm quite new. I've been here 2 years. I'm passionate about the work we do in Taiwan and passionate about healthcare for the people of Taiwan.
We just discussed about how you localize the global policy in Taiwan. And so following that, I would like to ask that if Taiwan is to become a contributor build our value. You have worked across like Canada, Belgium, and multi-countries like Japan or Singapore in Asia. So what stands out to you as unique about Taiwan's workplace culture? And what has impressed you the most about Taiwan's talent?
We have phenomenal talent here in Taiwan.
Especially the healthcare industry.
Yes.
We have the best students.
I think so. I've been consistently amazed at the quality of talent here. They're highly professional, strong execution, and this balanced focus on relationships and team harmony. And when I compare that to where I'm from or working in Europe or North America, we're a little bit more direct. Whereas the culture here in Taiwan, yes, people work very hard, they execute extremely well, but that balance of relationships and team harmony is built in there. In Taiwan, I've observed that people are more thoughtful about others' perspectives compared to maybe the directness that you would see in Europe or North America, and how we communicate to help preserve relationships, even though we have a point to make. At first, for foreigners like myself, that can feel like we're not making progress, or why aren't we being more direct? Can we just get moving here? But again, reading the air. Over time, I've seen it not as a limitation, but as a strength. The different tools that we use to communicate are very different than maybe what you would see in North America or Europe. And that sense of needing to build trust first before you can have a more direct conversation is critical. And that's not something we always see in the West. When I look at what we've built here in Taiwan and what I have available to me at GSK, we have high quality talent, yes, in our organization, but also within the healthcare industry. Everyone has a strong sense of responsibility, and we learn and adapt quickly. So that's something that's been really incredible in Taiwan. The talent, of course, like you said, is very high quality medical, scientific, and professional expertise. There's this strong sense of responsibility, and I would almost call it modesty or humility as well. And I think this is where I drive my team crazy.
You drive them crazy in what way?
Because I'm so proud of what they do. And I'll often say to them, come on, we need to brag about this. You're doing incredible work. You should share with the global team, right? Because that global-local relationship is bidirectional. It is not just global commanding what should happen. It is also an element of the local market feeding back what works. But this humility sometimes, in terms of feeding back to the global organization that's mostly Westerners, sometimes it gets lost. And so we have all these great ideas. We do phenomenal things here. And humility is such an important part of Taiwanese culture. That is why I drive my team crazy, because I ask them to be proud. And to be visibly proud, which is not something that is
that most Chinese, Taiwanese, that we are shy, tend to be shy.
But doing incredible things,
but then we won't say it.
I know.
We wait until both find out, recognize. Not like the Western, I have to speak all the time about what I have done.
Exactly.
So you have to always look who actually contribute a lot. Need you to discover.
And they're not always the loudest people in the room. So you really have to, again, you have to be listening with your eyes.
Okay.
Maybe the other thing I'll say about Taiwanese talent, again, as I've already said, the professionalism, the capability, the accountability, and this strong sense of teamwork, that's what allows us to actually be competitive long-term here in Taiwan.
So we just mentioned about Taiwan is a very good talent pool, right? So how do you ensure that Taiwan's achievements are recognized by global headquarters and translated into value on the global stage?
Taiwan is a very diverse and open society, which allows us to build a leadership culture rooted in listening, dialogue, and trust. I believe this represents one of the most important shifts in leadership today. When it comes to making Taiwan visible to global headquarters, the key is to translate these local stories into something that is meaningful for our global organization to understand. Taiwan has strong foundations in its healthcare system, innovation capabilities, and public-private collaboration. What we need to do is help the global organization understand that Taiwan is not just a market, but a place that can generate insights and serve as a model for others. For example, recently I was in Barcelona at a conference called EASL, which is the European Association for the Study of the Liver. It's focused on liver disease. And it's an annual international conference. It was just held this past May, and we saw firsthand that Taiwan is truly a global leader in liver disease research. This is built on long-term strengths, large-scale clinical data, a comprehensive national health insurance database, and consistent government investment in public health. Together, these have enabled Taiwan to establish a highly integrated, patient-centered system across screening, treatment, prevention, and disease management, generating insights that are valuable globally. In the field of vaccines, Taiwan's childhood vaccination rates are among the highest in the world. As part of the Taiwan team, this is something that we're all very, very proud of. Taiwan continues to make meaningful contributions to global preventative healthcare, and these are stories worth sharing on the global stage.
So you have sent a few Taiwanese talent.
We have.
Overseas, yeah.
Most recently, one to Japan, actually.
Okay.
And over the past few years, we've had people go to the mainland, but also go to the UK and to the US. And someone, who I will not name, is getting a job offer today to go to the UK.
Oh, okay. So become a talent pool for globally.
We are.
For GSK.
We are. Yeah.
Normally, from the global point of view, they will how would they perceive Taiwan's talents? Characteristics?
I think many of the characteristics I mentioned already, very hardworking, professional, very smart, but also humble. And when you work in a global organization, you are, I call it's a practice in influencing without authority. Our global teams must work with our local markets to understand their reality, yet create global strategy based on the realities of many, many countries around the world. If they cannot communicate well with the local markets, what happens is the local market might listen to the global strategy, but when the team's call is over, they will do whatever they want because they don't agree with the decision global has made. So the stronger the global leader is, and this is why the humility piece is important, the better they are at listening and truly understanding what the reality is that's being communicated, the stronger global strategy will be. And if global strategy is strong, based on a lot of listening, then the local markets will be able to implement it. And what's really important is, as I've said before, the whole point of implementing a local strategy is so we help patients. So the stronger that is, the more that the whole system works and we help more people with their health.
And you mentioned earlier that you tend to drive your people crazy.
I hope in the right way. I think I make them uncomfortable because I'm asking them to do something that's not traditionally done.
And you are very focused on innovation, right?
Yes.
Adventure and innovation. And I heard that you have a very powerful perspective that you often say that don't say no on behalf of others.
Yes.
Yeah, you leave the choice to the others.
Correct.
Yeah. So what does that mean? And then how this can drive your staff?
Yes. So maybe it is part of the humility piece. And I'm someone who's very much an introvert, but I'm an extrovert because that's my job.
Yeah. A lot of people are
that way.
Yeah.
And so I have, maybe it's what I deliver to my team is the way I coach myself as well. It's how we approach opportunities. So often it's easier to be quiet. It feels a lot safer, even if you have an idea that you think, this could really make a difference. And so in many situations, we close off opportunities or possibilities for patients in my industry because we're not certain. Maybe we think, I think someone tried this before and it didn't work. Or, I don't know how, is there enough funding for this? Do we have enough headcount? And so the perspective of let others say no is to open up conversation and open up different possibilities, sharing ideas. If you put it out there, then the responsibility becomes of the other person to say no. But if it never emerges, If you never say it, the answer is already no.
You don't even mention it.
Because you don't even say it.
Okay.
And so often what happens, and again, we work in a very highly regulated industry. So yes, we innovate, but we innovate within the boundaries of what we're permitted to do by law and local code and our company policy. But when you allow people to dream, big ideas first, then apply the rules, you create new innovations. Now, we're an innovative biopharma company. We make new medicines and vaccines to address unmet need. And then, as you mentioned, Mary, we're mostly a sales and marketing organization in Taiwan. But if we're not innovating here, it means those innovations that we create from our research and development teams might not make it to the patients who really need them. So it's our job within the constraints of our legal and compliance framework to really innovate and understand how we can best meet the needs of the patients here in Taiwan.
So don't limit ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah. So the correct saying of this sentence is that don't say no on behalf of others. Leave that choice to them.
Correct.
Right? Is that what you often say in the office?
I say it a little bit more, maybe a little bit easier.
Okay.
You don't ask, you don't get. So, and someone said that to me decades ago. But it means if you don't ask, let the other person say no to you. If you don't ask, the answer is already no. So Mary, if I said to you, hey, I have this crazy idea. What do you think if we try X? You might say, it is a crazy idea. And I think 75% of that we cannot do. But maybe 25% we can. If I had never said, or I didn't have the trust or courage to bring my idea at all, the amount we could do is zero. So again, this is all connected, listening to the organization, building trust, pushing for innovative thought. It's all connected. If there's no trust, no one suggests anything different. But you have to let people say no to you. That's where crazy ideas come from, where they can be transformed into patient opportunity.
So in the meetings that you hold a meeting, you won't allow staff to say no to you, right? That no colleagues can say no.
They can say no to me. They can absolutely say no to me. Because sometimes I'm the one with the crazy idea. And I will say, typically it starts with, I don't know how this would work, but what do you think about X? And I do that for two reasons. One, to show them that I am not always right. And to show them it's safe to come up with some crazy ideas. I want to create the environment where people can say, boss, I don't know how to do this, but what if we could do whatever their idea is? So I want them to feel safe to do that. And then I have to model, even if it's a really crazy idea. I have to say, it's a very interesting idea. Let's see how we can make that happen. It might not be implementable the way you see it today, but let's see how elements of that can be pulled through. So you have been in Taiwan for 2 years and 1 day. Yes.
So is there any crazy ideas that pop up from your colleagues, and then finally you implement it?
So there are many. We have something called the Can Do Project. So when I started, the team was very focused on what we cannot do. And so we created this project and safe space for people to come. They didn't have to come to me. It was a colleague within the organization who ran it. He ran this thing called a Can Do Project, which was like a crowdsourcing ideas. And from that, created a culture of people saying, can do. So it's become now common language for us to say can do, which relates to this, let other people say no to you, right? What can we do? How can we help more patients? What if we tried something really new and different? And it's gone to the point where I feel like it's bridged into the culture that we are showing our customers. So I had dinner with a healthcare professional a few nights ago, together with a few others. And as we were discussing, he said, I have a crazy idea. And I thought, yes. yes, bring on the crazy idea. It was really crazy. And I don't think we can do it the way that he proposed, but there's a piece in there that we can absolutely do. And now we need to work with our global team to solve the puzzle of how do we make that a reality.
Yeah. Do you have organized special meetings for this that can do a session or crazy ideas time? Do you have a specific meetings?
But now, Mary, you're giving me some ideas. Yeah, we're moving into a new office shortly, and so maybe we should designate a room as a crazy idea room or something.
That's interesting. You know what? Today's podcast conducting in English also is a crazy idea.
I'm very grateful, extremely grateful to you and the listeners for letting me speak in English today. Thank you.
But we have YouTube, so we can
true.
solve that problem.
Subtitles.
So at first, I thought, how can we conducting the interview in English for our audience to listen in Chinese? Yeah,
I'm very grateful. Thank you.
So we are also adventure.
Yes, exactly. This is our adventure for today.
Okay, so I think you have a lot of management style. I think that's also very good for others to benchmark and maybe learn from you. So now I would like to switch our topic to about how you see Taiwan's aging policy, how our governments are dealing with the aging societies. And so I will start from asking that how do you view Taiwan's progress and opportunities in preventive medicine and health policy, particularly in addressing major challenges such as aging and cancer? That's your specialties, our GSK, right? And how do you build a collaborative and mutually beneficial relationship with our government, Taiwan's government?
Sure. In recent years, Taiwan has made very clear and commendable progress in health policy. This includes elevating Healthy Taiwan to a national priority, establishing the Healthy Taiwan Promotion Committee, and setting concrete goals such as reducing the standardized cancer mortality rate by 1/3 by 2030. In addition, initiatives such as the $10 billion Cancer Drug Fund and the Parallel Review Mechanism are critical policy innovations. They demonstrate that the government is taking a more systematic and forward-looking approach to addressing the long-term challenges of healthy aging. Collaboration with the government is, in my view, one of the most meaningful aspects of this market. Through platforms such as the ECCT, or European Chamber of Commerce Taiwan, and IRPMA, which is the Innovative Research-Based Pharmaceutical Manufacturing Association, the industry has structured channels to participate in policy discussions. At the same time, the Taiwanese government has consistently demonstrated an open and constructive approach to dialogue, which deserves strong recognition. When I engage with government stakeholders, what I experience is a strong sense of partnership driven by shared goals. The government is willing to incorporate industry expertise and evidence-based insights into the policymaking process. And of course, not every recommendation we make can be adopted immediately, but this openness and ongoing dialogue, they're clear signs of a very mature system. But ultimately, as I've talked about patients, it's true for the government as well. It comes back to the principle of when we look out for the patients, we see things from the patient perspective. We look at how policy, healthcare systems, and our industry can work together to create better outcomes. It becomes much easier to find common ground when we have this shared language.
So from your perspective, based on your understanding, so how will you describe your vision of Taiwan's overall healthcare environment?
Taiwan's healthcare system is in many ways one that many countries admire. It's something I think we're all very proud of here in Taiwan.
Our healthcare system, right?
Yes, yes. It brings together world-class medical professionals, highly efficient and comprehensive national health insurance system, and strong technological capabilities. This foundation is not common globally. It has enabled Taiwan to build a very solid public health system over the past few decades. However, precisely because the system is already so mature, the next phase of transformation becomes even more critical. Taiwan is now at a turning point where important choices need to be made. As I'm sure you know, Taiwan has entered a super age society.
Yeah.
So that's not a future scenario. That's a reality today. The pace of population aging is faster than in many other countries. And that means chronic diseases, functional decline, and long-term care needs will continue to rise rapidly. As disease patterns evolve, if we continue to rely primarily on a treatment-focused model, intervening only after people become sick, the healthcare system, insurance framework, as well as the broader workforce and economic structure will gradually face increasing pressure. But this isn't a reflection of a flawed system. It's a sign that the environment itself has fundamentally changed, and therefore the system needs to change.
So from a treatment focus to prevention, right? So can you mention what are the key lines in prevention?
So prevention is better than cure. That's something we live by at GSK. Prevention is the best medicine to stop disease before it starts. The challenge with many things is implementation. It's easy to think about going to the doctor when you're not feeling well. To take preventative action when you're feeling well, we all have busy lives. And so making prevention the core focus requires structural changes in policy design, resource allocation, and overall societal attitudes towards health.
So from your background in other countries, right, you understand in Europe and Asia or Canada, many countries, I think, are all moving from treatment focus to prevention, right? I mean, the government all know the importance of this, including Taiwan's government. So if you can provide some advice to our government or to the whole society or even the corporation, that how can we do better in prevention?
So in Taiwan, we're seeing already this growing alignment in that direction towards preventative care. It's a very positive starting point. From the perspective of patients, and because our population is aging so quickly here, the transformation needs to happen faster and at a more comprehensive level. My vision is for health not to revolve around just responding to illness, but to beginning to intentionally build and protect right from the beginning. Really, at every stage of life, we talked about Taiwan being recognized globally. The vaccination rates that we have of children are some of the best in the world. But when we look at every stage of life, so not only babies, but all the way through to aging adults, people should have access to appropriate and continuous health support that reduces the risk of vaccine-preventable disease and minimizes health threats before they occur. Now, we've talked about vaccines, but maybe I'll talk a bit about cancer. So one of the major diseases, such as cancer, we need to set a clear ambition. So gradually make cancer a disease that can be cured and even prevented. This means that we have to shift our efforts earlier through earlier detection, more precise risk identification, and intervention before the disease develops, ultimately changing its trajectory and the likelihood of it occurring.
You mentioned also earlier that when we are getting aging, our past is the quickest in the world, right?
Yes, we're aging at the fastest in the world here in Taiwan.
You must have known there is a research, or many research show that Taiwan's elderly people will lie on bed 7 to 9 years in poor health condition before the end of the life. And many people mention about this situation. I say that we have to prolong the healthy life expectancy to the end of life for elderly people. So how do you view this problem for Taiwan? So we live longer, but we are not healthy as long as possible.
Yes, exactly. And that is an important part of early prevention. I think what you're talking about is something called healthy life years. So at the moment, we are extending the duration of life, but those healthy life years are around 7 or 8 years. So the last 7 to 8 years of someone's life is spent being unhealthy. As you referenced, Mary, people needing extra support because they're bedridden or they're just in poor health overall. Again, as I was speaking about looking at prevention overall and not only in vaccines, looking at how do people take better care of their health. I know even under Healthy Taiwan, there's a focus on the 3 highs, right? Hyperlipid or high lipids, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and
high blood sugar.
You got it. You've been reading.
3 highs.
Exactly, the 3 highs.
Yeah, there is a 888. That 888 is that with the goals of bring 80% of patients into care, right?
Yes.
And 80%, ensuring 80% receive a good lifestyle intervention.
Yes.
And then 80% under control, right? Achieving a control in 80% of our cases by 2030.
Yes, that's right.
2030, yeah.
That's right.
So how you perceive this policy? Is that on the right track to have the chronic disease management?
When it comes to chronic diseases, I believe the goal should be not just to slow down progress or progression, but to help patients maintain a good quality of life for as long as possible. Health is not just about living longer, but about people continuing to live with quality and staying engaged in their life. As we mentioned before, in Taiwan, people currently spend nearly 8 years on average in poor health. That highlights our challenge is not just extending life expectancy, but extending healthy life expectancy. This is also why initiatives such as the Healthy Taiwan a policy place strong emphasis on prevention and early intervention, helping people maintain better health throughout their entire life journey. Finally, when it comes to my broader vision for Taiwan's healthcare environment, I hope Taiwan can move beyond a place with an excellent healthcare system and become a truly health-centered society. This means not only treating disease well, but making prevention part of everyday life, managing health proactively so that people can stay physically and mentally well for longer. At the same time, I hope Taiwan can continue to build on its strengths and translate its successes in public health, data, and public-private collaboration into models that can be shared globally. Ultimately, when we move from treating disease to actively creating health, and from extending lifespan to extending healthy lifespan, Taiwan will not only build a more sustainable future for itself, but also play a more visible and impactful role on the global health stage.
So may I ask your opinion that is this 7 to 9 years lying on bed in poor health is really long, right?
It is long.
Compared to other countries, maybe shorter?
Yeah, it depends on the other country, but yes, it is shorter elsewhere. And it's an opportunity. These are human beings. Right? But when we look at them at scale, it also means an increased burden on the healthcare system because they are sick for so long before they leave us. And it also means less productivity. These are people that can no longer work or contribute to society in a meaningful way because they're not well.
Yeah, everybody hopes that they will lie down in the last moment of their life.
I agree. That's my hope for myself as well.
Yeah, let's aim for that goal.
Let's do it.
So thank you so much for today, joining us today's interview. And so we are almost at the end of the interview. So to wrap up today's episode, is there anything that you want to add that we haven't touched on?
Oh, I think we covered a lot today, Mary. I think maybe I'll just reiterate a few key points. I think the first one is we talked about leadership and the value for leaders to listen to their people and show them that you are listening. So not just listen to check a box, but truly, really listen. On the side of healthcare, the value of prevention and getting to disease early rather than late and extending those healthy life years so that people can truly both contribute to society and live a full, valuable life.
Okay, so if any final thoughts to share, to advise to our audience?
Maybe the last thing I'll say is about Taiwan. Taiwan is a phenomenal place and something we should be very, very proud of. Just as the modesty translate from my team, I think we could be less humble about all of the wonderful things we do in healthcare here in Taiwan and share them more with the world.
To say loudly to the world.
Say loudly to the world.
Taiwan can help.
Exactly. Look at the impressive things that are being done in healthcare here in Taiwan.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for Tina to attending today's interview and share with us your thoughts on how to be a good leader and how to inspire your team.
谢谢。
也感谢各位听众的收听与收看，我们下个礼拜5人物面对面再相会。谢谢 Tina。
谢谢 Mary。
谢谢。